On September 12, 2014, from the Ramsey Center on the campus of Western Carolina University in Cullowhee, this is Avram Friedman reporting for the Canary Coalition on the Grassroots press conference prior to the North Carolina Mining and Energy Commission's public hearing on the newly legislated rules for fracking in this state. As background for this event, it needs to be pointed out that although the sound is good quality on this recording, many of the people attending on the outskirts of the crowd could not hear the speakers clearly because for no apparent reason the college administration refused to allow the use of a small amplification system or a megaphone. One has to wonder what pressures were brought to bear on the administration to come to such a decision, given some of the other antics that were apparent prior and during the public hearing. For instance, as the press conference began, a group of large men, all wearing blue shirts with pro-fracking slogans, joined the crowd. This made it appear as if there was a significant organized pro-fracking contingent who would attend the hearing. But when several of these men were approached and asked who they were representing, it was revealed that they were residents of a homeless shelter in Winston-Salem who were offered a meal, transportation, and the promise of a job to wear these blue shirts and attend a hearing. They had no apparent awareness of the issues prior to this moment. As a side note, more than 90 people testified at the MEEC hearing that went on from 5 to 9 p.m. Not one spoke in favor of fracking or in defense of the rules.
Welcome, please bear with us as we do not have a sound system. So come on in. I'm Katie Hicks with Clean Water for North Carolina, and I'd like to welcome you to this little press conference on behalf of a group of grassroots groups and advocacy organizations that have put this together.
Quiet, please!
We're all organizations that are based in Western North Carolina that are opposed to hydraulic fracturing and also hold that these draft rules that the Commission has written, are not strong enough to protect North Carolinians. Clean Water for NC first identified fracking as a threat to North Carolina water and communities in 2009, and in 2012 we helped to found the Frack Free NC Alliance, which is a group of over 20 organizations working locally and regionally to protect folks from the harms of fracking. The legislative rush to welcome the shale gas industry has met with unprecedented opposition across the state, and this year the mountain folks have really leapt into action as well, recognizing that these rules and the highly disruptive and industrial process that they're meant to regulate are something that will affect the whole state. And this hearing was scheduled thanks to a huge outpouring of requests by state, local officials, and residents asking that the mountains needed to have a voice in these rules too. And we're thrilled that you're all here to comment. On that note, before we get started with our speakers, if you have not signed up to speak at the hearing but you want to, the sign-ups are happening now, and I'd encourage you to go ahead and go over there and get signed up. It's just down here, and then
it's hard to hear you.
There's no amplification.
They won't allow amplification.
All right, I'd like to welcome today's first speaker, Amy Adams. Amy is the North Carolina Campaign Coordinator with Appalachian Voices and the former Regional Office Supervisor for the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Washington Region. Welcome, Amy.
Such a great turnout here today. I have a big booming voice, so hopefully you guys will be able to hear me. The fracking industry is clawing at our door. Can you hear the rumbling of their machines? Yeah. They want what we may or may not have beneath our North Carolina soil. They promise jobs. They promise money for mineral rights in a time of a struggling economy. They promise no one will be harmed. They promise it will all be okay. Our elected officials told us, we will write the strongest fracking rules in the country. We will protect you, they said. But these rules are not what they said they would be.
No, they're not.
The rules need improvement in every one of the 14 areas. Not one section has the teeth or the backbone needed to protect our communities from the oil and gas industry.
That's right.
Strong rules save lives.
Amen.
To get a visual of these rules and the significance of these rules, think of these rules as a giant dam. The rules are the dam holding back the harm from this industry. The rules must be tall enough and strong enough to protect the downstream communities. The rules that we are here to speak about today have set the dam height too low. Too much of that potential harm could overtop and flood our communities. The rules are not strong enough. The only way that we can ensure that our communities are protected is to start from a place of strength. We set the goal so high that no potential harm comes to our communities. If we start this low, it is too late.
Me too.
North Carolina has not opened her soul to the extractive industry for hundreds of years. We have time to set the strongest rules in the country and slowly wean back as we learn from other states and from science.
That's right.
We mustn't rush headlong and with blinders into a potentially irreversible toxic fate in North Carolina. Not when solar energy and renewables offer us a healthy, sustainable, and just future.
Our next speaker is Denise DeGarabedian. Denise founded the Coalition Against Fracking in Western North Carolina this year. She's a grassroots activist and she lives in Cherokee County.
Water is precious and it is life. It is the most basic and precious of all our natural resources, and before these recent times, all people understood and recognized the importance and sacredness of water. Hydraulic fracturing threatens our very lives by exposing our water and our bodies to contamination. Water is health. The air and the water resources of the Tar Heel State belong to the people, and the preservation of these resources is in the best interest of all citizens. The need for water binds us together. It is the state's ultimate responsibility to maintain, protect, and enhance the quality of our water resources. Clean water is our right. It is a human right. The standards of water purity are designed to protect our human health, prevent injury to plant and animal life, prevent damage to property, ensure the continued enjoyment of our natural attractions, encourage the expansion of employment opportunities, and to secure for the people of North Carolina now and into the future the beneficial uses of this great natural resource. Water is our future. The fracking industry would like you to believe that they've never contaminated a single well, a single creek, a single spring, a single river. But we know better. We can read, we can pay attention to the news, and we can research for ourselves. Every month there is another accident, another spill, another violation of the law. And now finally 4 states have been brave enough to come forward and state, yes, 694 confirmed cases of water contamination has been directly related to fracking industry. So we must stand against the threats to our water resources. The oil and gas industry would like for us to believe that fracking will bring money and jobs to our state, and that these jobs will outweigh the risks. But they can't tell us how many jobs are going to be available until after they start drilling. And then, what are the risks to all the jobs that are dependent on our water, our clean water? And the jobs that are provided supposedly are temporary. So I don't buy that. That's right. What about the tens of thousands of jobs that will be at risk if we do not remember the value of our water? Water is our economy. We must stand together against the fracking threat. We will not fall victim to the same toxic poisoning of our pristine water that has been documented in other states. North Carolina citizens demand the end of the fracking threat.
visiting us all the way from Pennsylvania in the heart of the Marcellus Shale region.
Ron Gula!
Ron Gula signed a drilling lease with Range Resources for his 141-acre farm in 2002. But the fracking operation caused serious problems, including contamination of his pond, groundwater, and soil. He's now involved in a lawsuit with the company and knows many people who have lived with this industry. Welcome, Ron.
Folks, I want to dedicate this to Terry Greenwood. He's in the shale gas stories. If you can get your hands on this, please do. Terry and I, when I hooked up with him, he lost cattle. He had 10 calves stillborn, white eyes, blue eyes. His pond was contaminated. He lost his water well. He lost the spring. Dominion Gas said they didn't do it, etc., etc. It's all a pack of lies. To this day, they're still buying water. They have a water dispenser in their house. The DEP drilled 5 water wells, trying to replenish, his water well that was ruined and lost. Well, that 5th well that was a good well. It's very salty. You can't drink it. And when the DEP rep came in and said the water's fine, you could drink it, Mrs. Greenwood said, "Here you go, take a glass of it and drink it." Well, that's not our practice, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a picture here of, this is a different farm, about 7 miles away. This guy lost a number of Angus, close to 90 head, 90-some head.
Oh my goodness.
And this calf here, see the white pupil? Well, that's Terry's calves are white and blue. White eyes and blue eyes. Well, anyhow, I want to read this story. I read this back in Ohio, back in May, for Terry, because Terry was already diagnosed with glioblastoma brain cancer. He lived 91 days. We don't know if the drilling caused it. We don't know. But we can't say that it didn't. That's why we want the science done. We want this crap stopped, because we know there are many people sick around this country. I know people everywhere. Anyhow, I had to read the story for Terry, because he wanted to meet John Fenton of Wyoming, who was also sick. And it said, "My name is Terry Greenwood. In 2008, my farm in southwestern Pennsylvania was affected by gas well drilling. My drinking water turned brown in January, and in April, 4 calves were stillborn and 6 others had birth defects and died within hours of their birth. Their eyeballs were white or blue without pupil or iris. Their mothers had been drinking from a pond near where the casing failed on a shallow gas well while it was being drilled in February 2008. This was not a horizontal well, this was a vertical. When I notified the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection that 10 calves were dead, they said that's a farmer's luck. At that time I said, now it's the cattle, soon it will be the people.
That's right.
On March 7, 2014, after I had an episode of double vision and was extremely tired, an MRI at the hospital revealed that I have multiple brain tumors. A biopsy on March 11th proved I'm cancerous. I currently received radiation and 2 forms of chemotherapy. The tumors are inoperable. I am fighting as hard as I can, and I talk to him about it every day. Regretfully, on Sunday, June 8th, 2014, after a brave 3-month battle with his brain tumors, Terry Greenwood passed away. His motto, water is more important than gas. Lives on. Terry helped to pave the way for anti-fracking activists worldwide to continue to strive to protect our environment. His struggles should not be in vain. There must be a wake-up call for the lawmakers everywhere to realize that those who drill the gas wells don't have all of the information necessary to protect the people. Families in rural areas should not have to worry that their well water they drink may now flow from a gas well drill tainted aquifer. And that's what's happening everywhere.
That's right.
Thank you
And
so
it
much.
won't happen here. That's
Coming all this way to be with us and share that. Our next speaker, we're also very honored to have here because, as you may know, one of the biggest issues with fracking, and especially with our state legislature, is the way that they have attempted to keep local governments from choosing their own regulations. And that's why we're thrilled to have Harry Bond, who recently took office as the mayor of Hayesville in Clay County. The town of Hayesville passed a resolution opposing gas exploration in Hayesville and Clay County. And Mayor Bond is here to share some of his concerns about the draft rules. Thank you.
It is indeed a privilege and an honor to get to be the mayor of beautiful Hayesville. And if you haven't been to Hayesville in Clay County, why not? and I say that not only promoting Hayesville, but because Hayesville shares what Cullowhee, Silva, we all share in this western end of the state, and that is we are blessed to have wonderful natural resources. We have clean air, we have clean water, and it is our responsibility to keep it that way. I think, I'm already getting a sense of the crowd here that, truth be known, all of us would love to get rid of this stupid law. But in the meantime, what we're here for today is the environmental rules to protect us, assuming this law stays in place allowing fracking. Well, my first contention is, being as how the energy companies and the legislature say it's safe, then they should have no problem with the strictest regulations in the nation then, because it's safe. So instead of a half-mile radius around a fracking site for water, why not 2 miles, 3 miles? I mean, come on, they say it's safe.
Right.
So let's go for the tightest environmental regulations that we can, as you said, in the entire nation. The evidence, the reports coming in from other states are really concerning. Like he just shared, that happened in Pennsylvania. I just read this morning a study from the Colorado Health and Environmental Resources Department of Colorado University, where they have done a long-term study on birth. And it showed that within a 10-mile radius of a fracking site, there is a 30% increase in heart birth defects. That's a huge number, 30%? I mean, the regulations have got to be tight. Absolutely, and that's what we're all here for today. I thank you all for being here. Separate and apart for this, I really hope we can start the grassroots move rolling, continue rolling on our candidates that are running for office this fall. They need to listen to us if they want to get into Raleigh, that we don't want it.
At this official program, and then we would encourage folks to go ahead and get a seat inside, make your way inside. But before we do that, our final speaker is Susan Leading Fox. She's an enrolled member of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians and a multi-generational Appalachian Native American. Susan is currently self-employed, but she did work for 20 years with the Cherokee in various capacities, and most recently as Deputy of the Health and Medical Division under Chief Hicks' administration. Following Susan's comments, her husband Greg will end our press conference with a song. Thank you all for being here.
I'm glad to see everybody here today. I'm so encouraged to see a number of people here, and I think we're all here for the same reason, and it is what this young lady over here said, is to stop fracking in this state.
Yes.
But I want to talk about an aspect of fracking that nobody's talking about, and that is the social impact of fracking and what it does to our small town communities. You know, people are looking for facts and figures and statistics online about the water contamination, about the number of trucks going up and down the road, about the chemicals and those kind of things, and those are all very, very important things. However, because we come from a small town, there's lots of small little towns around here, and we love our small towns. So one of the things I want to talk about is what happens to small towns when this kind of stuff comes in. And that is, these are anecdotal stories. There's no statistics to them. But when you go online and you start reading time after time after time after time about these small towns being turned into the Wild West because you have transient workers coming in to work on these oil wells, you have temporary workers who have readily easy money in their pockets, and lots of it because they're getting paid well. Otherwise they wouldn't come from out of state. So what do these guys do in the evening when the work day's over? Where do they go? What are they looking for? You're talking about temporary workers with easy money in their pockets who are going to hit the restaurants and hit the bars, and they're going to be looking for activity. So what I'm starting to read about and what I'm very concerned about is the increased crime rate that comes with the transient workers, with the man camps that get set up so that the workers can have a place to stay, the displaced renters, because now landlords find out they can rent their houses for 3 and 5 and 10 times more than what they were normally getting. So along with that becomes an increase in violence, an increase in crime, an increase in drug traffickers, because now you have a group of folks out here on the fringes who realize that you have a group of people who have a lot of money available. So an increase in drug trafficking, an increase in alcohol use. So what does all that combination turn out to? It ends up being a strain on our local law enforcement. It ends up being a strain on our local emergency providers who have to answer to these, have to respond to the calls of increased violence, of sexual assaults on our women who are trying to work in these establishments, who are getting solicited to come in for $3,000. How about coming and dancing naked for 5 of my friends who, you know. So we're starting to hear stories about this. So I'm glad to see you all here. I'm glad to see that you all are supporting the ban on fracking in this state. I hope that all of you are going to be speaking today, and I appreciate your time. And my husband Greg is going to sing a song as we close up. It's a prayer song. He's not from here, but we'll take him anyway. He's from Oklahoma. And we've all heard about what's going on in Oklahoma, right? So he's going to sing a Pawnee prayer song. A Ponca prayer song to lead us all into the hearing. And he can talk to you just a second about the song.
Yeah, the song I'm going to sing is, like Susan said, is a prayer song from the Ponca tribe. A lot of times it's used as a healing song. But what I want to use it for today is not only healing, but that, our so-called officials feel with their hearts and their minds as they hear our voices that we don't want this in our state. We've got a beautiful place here that we don't want destroyed. And I hope that they hear this and it makes them think about what they're going to do if they try to continue with what they're trying to do here. Hello, go, cabell, hey, oh, hello, go, cabell, hey. Wakanda, hey, Loga, Cabell, hey, hey, Loga, Cabell, hey, hey, Loga, Cabell, hey, oh, hey, Loga, Cabell, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, oh, hey, Wakanda, hey, Loga, Cabell, hey, hey, Loga, Cabell, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, Wakanda, hey, Loga, Cabell, hey, hey, Loga, Cabell, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, Wakanda, hey, Loga, Cabell, hey, hey, Loga, Cabell, hey.